Have you ever felt a quiet hum of emptiness in a crowded room? A sense that you're playing a part in a grand play, but have long forgotten your original lines? This feeling, this pervasive sense of being adrift, is not a personal failure. It is a symptom of a profound collective amnesia. Today, we embark on a journey together, not to learn something new, but to remember something ancient, a truth about who you are that has been veiled for centuries. We will travel from the secret initiations of ancient temples to the cutting edge of quantum perception, navigating the traps of the mind to arrive at the ultimate freedom, the unshakable remembrance of your true self. This is a story about shedding the illusions that bind you and reclaiming the infinite power that has always been your birthright. There exists a quantum truth, a fundamental principle of reality that has been obscured since the convulsions of the 1400s, a period of immense change that set the stage for our modern world. This truth, understood by the ancients, holds the very key to the fabric of your existence. It whispers that the feeling of being lost, of a deep, unquenchable longing for something more, is not a flaw in your design. It is, instead, a direct consequence of the world you were born into, a meticulously programmed 3D reality, engineered to make you forget the limitless, creative power you inherently possess. Imagine this: ancient civilizations, continents, and millennia apart, from the sun-drenched pyramids of Egypt to the mist-shrouded temples of the Andes, all shared a common, startling understanding. They knew that when a soul is born, it does not truly awaken. Instead, it enters a profound state of cosmic amnesia, a great forgetting. Your consciousness, which originates from the boundless, interconnected sea of the unified quantum field, the source of all that is, was, and ever will be, becomes veiled. It is as if a celestial curtain falls, shrouding your awareness and leading you to the great mistake, the belief that you are merely your physical body, a fleeting collection of bone and tissue. This grand illusion, this cosmic sleight of hand, was what the sages of ancient India termed Maya. It is the dream you have mistaken for reality, the character you have mistaken for the actor. Think about the implications of this. Every limitation you perceive, every fear that holds you captive, is rooted in this primary act of forgetting. The world as you know it, with its societal structures, its cultural narratives, its relentless focus on the external, is designed to reinforce this amnesia. From the moment you are given a name, a nationality, a set of expectations, you are being handed a script. This script tells you that your worth is measured by your achievements. Your value is determined by external validation, and your power is limited to what your five senses can perceive. This programming runs so deep that it operates silently, automatically, convincing you that the prison is, in fact, your home. But deep within you, in the silent spaces between your thoughts, the memory of your true nature stirs. It is a quiet rebellion, a yearning to remember the vast quantum ocean from which your individual drop of consciousness arose. This journey we are on is about answering that call, about peeling back the layers of the grand illusion and reclaiming the forgotten legacy of your own divinity. This profound knowledge, this map back to the self, was not lost. It was protected. It was guarded within the silent stone walls of secret temple rooms, not to hoard its power, but to shield the unready from its overwhelming truth. The process of remembering was understood to be a delicate and potent undertaking, a sacred alchemy of the soul. An initiation for a chosen student was never about accumulating more information. It was a radical process of unlearning. It was a stripping away of all that was false to reveal the unshakable truth that lay beneath. Picture this: the initiate, after years of disciplined preparation, is led into a chamber of absolute nothingness, a void of total darkness and profound silence, a space meticulously designed to offer zero sensory input. There is no light to define form, no sound to mark the passage of time. In this sensory vacuum, the carefully constructed 3D identity, the ego, begins to starve. The ego, that part of you that defines itself by labels like successful, a failure, a parent, an artist, begins to dissolve. Without the constant reflection of the external world, the mask of the self, with all its history of triumphs and wounds, starts to crumble. This was not an act of addition, but of sacred subtraction. The goal was not to gain new wisdom, but to shed every borrowed belief, every conditioned response, every layer of identity that was not authentically you. In the unnerving stillness of the void, what has always been there, the pure, unconditioned consciousness, is finally allowed to surface. This ancient practice finds its echo in our modern world. Consider the rise of sensory deprivation tanks or flotation therapy. Individuals float effortlessly in a lightless, soundproof pod filled with salt water heated to skin temperature, creating an environment where the boundary between the body and the external world seems to disappear. People report profound experiences of deep relaxation, sudden insights, and a feeling of being born anew. Similarly, extended silent retreats practiced in traditions like Vipassana remove the distraction of speech and external noise, forcing participants to confront the ceaseless chatter of their own minds. These practices, ancient and new, are not about escaping the world, but about escaping the prison of the conditioned self. They are a practical application of the temple initiation, a deliberate step into the void to unlearn who you think you are, so you can remember who you truly are. They are a courageous journey inward, a pilgrimage into the silent darkness where the ego dissolves and the soul awakens. Before the great remembrance can truly begin, you must confront the first and most formidable obstacle, the vault lie of the self. This isn't an external enemy, it is an internal wall, a fortress built brick by brick from a lifetime of conditioned thoughts, inherited beliefs, and societal programming. It is the silent, pervasive voice in your head that whispers tales of your inadequacy, your unworthiness, your separation. This internal barrier is the gatekeeper of your forgotten power, and the first practical step on this sacred journey is to courageously challenge its authority. The battle begins in the landscape of your own mind. A thought arises, unbidden, from the depths of your conditioning. I am not good enough. It feels true. It feels personal. It carries the weight of past failures and future fears. In this critical moment, you have a choice. You can either accept this thought as reality, allowing it to drain your energy and dictate your emotional state, or you can deploy a tool of immense power, a question taught by the ancient wisdom keeper, Thoth. When this negative frequency arises, you must pause and with genuine curiosity ask, is this frequency truly mine? or was it given to me? This single question is a revolutionary act of what can be called energetic sovereignty. Energetic sovereignty is the conscious choice to be the authority of your own energy field. It is the declaration that you will no longer be a passive receptacle for the mental and emotional pollution of the collective. Think about it. How many of your deepest fears and limiting beliefs were consciously chosen by you? Were you born believing you weren't smart enough? Or did you absorb that frequency from a critical teacher? Do you inherently feel unworthy of love? Or is that a program inherited from familial patterns or societal standards? The question, is this truly mine? Short circuits the automatic loop of negative self-identification. It creates a space between you, the observer, and the thought, the observed. In that space, you reclaim your power. You stop feeding the parasitic thought forms that have been draining your life force for years. This isn't about fighting your thoughts or suppressing your feelings. It is about discerning their origin. It is the beginning of mental alchemy, the process of transforming the lead of conditioned belief back into the gold of your authentic, limitless nature. This simple, profound question is the first key in the lock, the initial step in dismantling the inner wall and reclaiming the sovereign territory of your own mind. As you consistently practice this sacred discernment, as the relentless noise of inherited thoughts begins to fade, a profound shift occurs. A deeper, more subtle faculty of perception begins to awaken within you. This is the single eye, an organ of true vision that sees not through the physical eyes, but through the lens of pure awareness. In many spiritual traditions, this is referred to as the third eye, the Ajna chakra, a gateway to inner realms and higher consciousness. It is the seat of intuition and direct knowing. This awakening is not about seeing auras or predicting the future in a sensational sense. It is a far more intimate and revolutionary form of perception. It is the ability to know, to feel the energetic signature of a person, a situation, or a choice before the analytical mind has a chance to dissect and label it. Quantum perception is feeling the truth before you can think the truth. It is walking into a room and instantly sensing the emotional climate. It is meeting someone for the first time and having an inexplicable feeling of trust or caution that transcends their words or appearance. The rational mind, trained in the logic of the 3D world, will often try to dismiss these feelings as illogical or baseless. It will demand evidence, proof, and a step-by-step analysis. But the single eye operates on a different wavelength. It perceives the universe not as a collection of separate objects, but as a vibrant, interconnected field of energy and information. It reads the subtle currents of vibration that underlie all physical reality. Cultivating this faculty requires stillness. It requires you to trust the quiet, instantaneous knowing that arises in the silent spaces you have created by questioning your conditioned thoughts. In this newfound stillness, as the chatter of the ego subsides, you create the necessary quietude to perceive something even more profound, your invisible name. This is not a word that can be spoken or written. It is the unique, ineffable electromagnetic frequency of your soul. It is your silent, vibrational signature in the unified quantum field, your true, inimitable identity. Imagine every being in the universe emitting a unique musical note. For lifetimes, You have been trying to sing someone else's song, a melody composed of societal expectations and inherited beliefs. The process of unlearning allows you to finally fall silent, and in that silence, you begin to hear, or rather feel, your own authentic note. For the very first time, this frequency is your direct connection to the source. It is the essence of who you are, beyond the temporary labels of your 3D identity. To perceive this invisible name is to remember your unique place and purpose in the grand cosmic symphony. It is a homecoming to the core of your being, a remembrance that is felt, not thought, known, not learned. The moment you begin to consciously activate and resonate with this core frequency, your invisible name is a watershed event in your spiritual journey. This powerful activation acts like a powerful current of pure energy flowing through your system, and it inevitably forces all suppressed and stagnant energies to the surface to be seen, felt, and released. This is the soul's great purification, a deep and often tumultuous energetic cleanse. Every hidden trauma, every deeply buried fear, every ounce of unfelt pain from this lifetime and others will rise from the shadows of your subconscious. It can feel overwhelming, as if you are moving backward. You might experience sudden waves of anger, grief, or anxiety that seem to come from nowhere. Understand that this is not a sign of regression, it is a profound sign of healing. The poison is being drawn out of the wound. The key to navigating this intense purification is a radical shift in perspective. The conditioned response is to resist the pain, to numb it, to distract yourself from it, or to judge yourself for feeling it. But the path of awakening calls for something different, to observe the pain without judgment. This is the art of becoming the conscious, silent witness to your own inner experience. When a wave of sadness arises, you do not become the sadness. You observe it. You notice its texture, its intensity, its location in your body. You allow it to be there without needing it to change or disappear. You hold it in a space of compassionate, non-judgmental awareness. This practice of observation is the ultimate act of self-love. By simply witnessing this stagnant energy without getting entangled in its story, you untether it from your identity. You allow it, finally, to be released. This process is akin to what modern psychology calls shadow work, the conscious integration of the hidden or repressed parts of ourselves. It is about bringing the darkness into the light, not to banish it, but to embrace it with love and understanding, thereby healing it. As this profound clearing occurs, you naturally begin to shift into what is known as the observer state. You are no longer the victim of your thoughts and emotions, tossed about on the chaotic seas of your inner world. You become the lighthouse, the stable, silent, unwavering presence that watches the storms pass. You realize that you are not the thoughts, but the awareness of the thoughts. You are not the emotions, but the space in which the emotions arise and fall. In this elevated state of consciousness, a remarkable thing happens. Your perception of time begins to change. The frantic, rushed pace of the 3D world slows down. You experience more space between moments, a greater sense of presence and calm, even amidst external chaos. This is because you're no longer constantly reacting to life from a place of subconscious programming. Instead, you're beginning to consciously create your reality. From the calm center of the observer state, you respond to life with wisdom and intention. rather than reacting with fear and conditioning. You're no longer just a character in the play. You are becoming the conscious author of your own story. To achieve these states of profound inner peace in the silent temple or the meditation cushion is one thing. The true test of your awakening is to remain in this state of conscious observation amidst the unrelenting chaos of the 3D world. How do you hold your center when faced with traffic jams, difficult colleagues, global crises, and the incessant demands of modern life? The mastery is achieved through the moment-to-moment practice of presence, intentional silence, and a deep discernment of the energy you consume. This means consciously choosing to anchor yourself in the present moment through your breath, especially when the world tries to pull you into anxiety about the future or regret about the past. It means carving out moments of intentional silence in your day, turning off the news, putting down the phone to reconnect with the stillness within. And it means becoming acutely aware of the energetic quality of the information, the food, and the company you keep, recognizing that everything you consume either nourishes your core frequency or pollutes it. However, as your consciousness expands and your connection to your true self deepens, the mind, in its desire for self-preservation, sets its final and most cunning trap, the spiritual ego. This is a subtle and insidious distortion of your progress. It's the whisper that tells you that you are now special, enlightened, or somehow superior to others who are still asleep. The spiritual ego takes the profound experiences of your inner journey and turns them into a new, more refined identity. It judges others for being less woke. It compares its spiritual journey to others, creating an invisible ladder of consciousness that it needs to climb. It may even feel a compulsive need to fix or awaken others, not from a place of genuine compassion, but from a need to validate its own spiritual status. This illusion of separation is the final enemy, the ultimate barrier to true liberation. The spiritual ego is a wolf dressed in sheep's clothing, a deception of the highest order, because it disguises itself as spirit. It creates a new form of separation, a subtle us versus them mentality that is the very antithesis of quantum reality. True quantum coherence, the state of ultimate harmony and power, is found not in the pride of a spiritual achievement, but in the humble, profound understanding that all are part of the same unified field. The journey is not about becoming better than anyone else. It is about recognizing the divine spark within every being, no matter how deeply it may be veiled. To overcome this final trap is to realize that the goal was never to become an enlightened person, but to dissolve the person altogether, leaving only the light of pure, unified consciousness. It requires constant vigilance and a radical humility, a willingness to see the ego's tricks and lovingly let them go over and over again. When this final, gossamer thin mask of the spiritual ego dissolves, you arrive at a state of being that can only be described as conscious unity. This is not a concept to be understood, but a reality to be lived. In this state, the deeply ingrained illusion of separation completely collapses. You don't just believe that you are connected to everything, you experience it as a direct, unshakable truth. You realize, with a profound sense of relief and homecoming, that there was never any separation between you and the source of all life. The very idea of a journey back to the source is seen for what it was, a dream of distance You are not a drop of water seeking to return to the ocean. You are, and always have been, the entire quantum field experiencing itself within the unique vessel of your body. With this ultimate realization, the desperate, lifelong search for answers comes to an end because there are simply no more questions. The restless, seeking for meaning, for purpose, for the next book or teacher that will finally give you the secret, dissolves into the profound peace of simply being. You understand that life itself, in all its chaotic, beautiful, and mundane glory, is the answer. There is nothing to achieve, nowhere to get to. There is only the ever-present miracle of existence, unfolding in the eternal now. In this state of conscious unity, the distinction between the sacred and the mundane vanishes. Every mundane act becomes a sacred ritual, infused with the light of your presence. Breathing, the simple, automatic act of taking in air, becomes a conscious communion with the life force of the universe. Drinking a glass of water is no longer a trivial task. It is the sacred act of receiving the life-giving essence of the cosmos into your being. Washing the dishes, once a chore to be rushed through, becomes a moving meditation. The feeling of the warm water, the sight of the soap bubbles, the simple act of bringing cleanliness and order, all experienced with a profound sense of gratitude and presence. You are no longer waiting for life to begin. You are no longer postponing your peace until you reach some future goal. You are fully, vibrantly present with the miracle of what is, right here, right now. The frantic search is over. You have arrived at the place you never truly left, the sacred, infinite, present moment, the final quantum leap, the ultimate and unshakable remembrance, is the realization of the unspoken truth that lies beyond all words and concepts. You are not the character in the story. You are not the body that ages, the mind that thinks, or the emotions that fluctuate. You are not the pain you have felt, the fear you have faced, or the intricate identity you have worn for a lifetime. These are all experiences passing through you, like clouds passing through the vast, open sky. You are the sky itself. You are the infinite, untouched consciousness that has been silently witnessing your journey all along. This pure awareness, your true self, has never been harmed, never been broken, and never been born or died. It is the eternal, silent witness to the entire cosmic play. A soul that remembers this truth cannot be controlled, manipulated, or imprisoned by any external force or belief system. This is the dawn of absolute freedom. But this is not the ego's definition of freedom. The freedom to do whatever you want, whenever you want. That is still a form of bondage to desire. This is a far deeper liberation. The freedom from being defined by anything at all. You are no longer defined by your past, your successes, your failures, your relationships, or even your spiritual experiences. You are free from the very need to have an identity. The prison doors, which were never truly locked, swing open. You see that all belief systems, no matter how noble or comforting, are ultimately cages for the infinite spirit. You no longer need to cling to any ideology because you have become a living embodiment of the truth. You are no longer a seeker of the light. You are the light itself. The great forgetting is over. The long dream of separation has come to its peaceful conclusion. You are awake. You are free. You are home. The journey we've explored today is not a linear path with a final destination, but a spiral of remembrance, a continual deepening into the truth of who you are. The lesson is not to strive to become something you're not, but to lovingly shed all the layers of who you are not. The advice is to begin where you are. When that next limiting thought arises, simply ask, with gentle curiosity, is this truly mine? That is the starting point. Find moments of silence in your day, not as a chore, but as a gift to yourself, a space to simply be. And practice observing your emotions without judgment, treating them as sacred messengers that are simply passing through. This path requires courage, patience, and a deep compassion for yourself. There will be moments you forget, moments the old programming takes over, and that's okay. The journey is in the gentle, persistent returning, the returning to the breath, the returning to the present moment, the returning to the silent observer within. I leave you with a question to ponder in the quiet moments of your week. If you were to let go of one story you tell about yourself just for a day, what would it be? And what might you discover in the space that story once occupied? Thank you for sharing this space and this time with me. I wish you profound peace, vibrant health, and clarity on your journey. If this message resonated with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more explorations into the heart of consciousness. Your presence here is deeply appreciated. Be well, and remember the silent, unshakable peace that you are.